roll, right? Chief, I don't know if he's on a run or not, so we could start without Chief. So, okay, I'd like to call to order the regular board meeting for May the 10th, 2021. And please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Janelle, could you please take roll call?
Just as a reminder, everyone, please state where you're joining in from. Palma,
I'm here at the township.
Patty back. You're on mute, Patty.
Patty, you're on mute. Patty, you're on mute.
Where's my, okay, now I'm off mute. Okay, so present, and I'm in my office at the Township Hall.
Teresa Bills,
Present, I'm at home.
Jim Christopher,
I'm here at home.
and Gina Musarelli.
I am here and at the township.
Okay, it makes it here for everybody. I would like a motion to approve today's agenda, but I do have two additions. Under presentations, I got a late request today. Holly Library would like to introduce somebody here, and I see AC is on the call waiting for that opportunity, so I want to add that to the presentations. And then at the very end, under supervisor's report, I just got the one of the bids for the asphalt work in the parking lot, so we can discuss that as a late item as well. So subject to those two changes, that's all I have. If anybody wants to make a motion to approve the agenda with those two modifications.
I'll motion to approve the agenda with the addition of the Holly Library presentation and discussion on the parking lot recovering, resurfacing.
Okay.
Support.
Okay, is there any other questions or comments from the board? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the next item, which is approval of the minutes from the April 12th Township Board meeting and the Fire Board meeting. Are there any questions or comments on those two items?
No.
Okay, if not, a motion would be in order.
I'll motion to approve the minutes of Fire Board minutes and the Township Board minutes for April 2021. And I think we have to do a roll call vote, Bob, because we're Zoomed.
Okay, we'll do it on a roll call. Thank you, Patty. Okay, is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
By Gina, okay. Would you take a roll call vote on that, please?
De Palma,
Yes?
Back,
Yes.
Bills,
Yes.
Christopher,
Yes,
Musarelli.
Yes.
Okay, everybody approved. Objections to it, we'll move on. Next is the financials, and Patty, do you want to cover the budget amendments?
Yep. So still being so shortly into the new budget, we have no budget amendments at this time. And that can take us into the accounts payables. So
Okay.
for 101 for the month, it was $47,524.88. And for 101 is the general fund. 249 is the building fund. It was $850. And 701, that's the fund where we keep money in escrow that's going to be paid back out to other, paid back out to people that we're doing a project with us, so on and so forth. And we did clean quite a bit of that out in the amount of $4,072.92 for a total of $52,447.80. The fire fund is 206. Their monthly was $8,479.51. So my motion is to approve the accounts payables as presented.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
By Gina, okay. Since it is for money and a lot of it, Janelle, if you take the roll call.
Back,
Yes.
Bills,
Yes.
Christopher,
Yes.
Mazzarelli,
Yes.
DePalma.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is, oh, we did the financial reports for, I'm sorry.
Yep, the revenue and expense.
Yep.
Unless, does anybody have any questions on them? I would motion to approve the revenue and expenditure report for the period ending April 30th, 2021 as presented.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? And Janelle, if you just take a roll call on that.
Mills,
Yes.
Christopher,
Yes.
Mazzarelli,
Yes.
DePalma.
Yes.
Bat,
Yes,
Okay, we're cruising. Next item is the investment reports. Teresa, would you like to cover that?
Sure. So I dropped the November and December from 2020, and what you have is just the first 4 months of 2021. And if you look down at the bottom, not necessarily the grand total, but the total public funds, usually every month we get, somewhere around 4 or 5, whatever thousand in interest, but this time you can see it went up by about 800,000. That is not interest. That was most of the 2020 tax roll money being moved from the tax escrow account at the state bank into the investment products. So 800,000 of fire department tax roll money was moved over, and 200,000 of the township tax roll money was moved over and put into public funds. And some money was moved out of public funds to put into the fire department's operating checking account. So overall, we have a gain of about $800,000 right there, but I didn't want that to mislead anybody into thinking that somehow we gained all this money somehow. This is our tax revenue money, which is the operating part of the operating revenue for this coming fiscal year. So that, I think that pretty much explains that. Are there any other questions for that was a big difference, and I wanted to point that out.
No, I think this is excellent, the way you've changed this. I like looking at the 4 months at a glance.
Yeah.
And this is very good since it starts with the calendar year, January. It's easy to follow now.
Quarterly report, right
Mhm.
there.
So any other questions or comments from anybody? If not, we don't really need to approve this. It's informational, so we can, there's nothing else, we can move on to the next item then.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Teresa.
You're welcome.
The next item is one of them that I received a request on later today. And so it's the addition I mentioned earlier. And that is, we have a request by AC, who I know from, is a resident in Holly, and I worked with him before on some planning issues, and he's also on the Holly board. So AC, at this point, I'd like to turn the agenda over to you. And I believe you wanted to do an introduction on the Holly Library for everybody here. Oh, you're muted, AC. You're on mute. AC? Okay.
Mr. Chairperson, if I may,
Yeah.
I'm actually not Laura Guy. I know that person. I'm Gregory Hayes, the director of the Holly Township Library.
Okay.
And we just
I
want-
got it now.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I am downriver driving and I'm using my phone. But first of all, we appreciate the opportunity to say hello to you all. I want to introduce you to a couple folks. I hadn't talked to you all since I think when I was previously on the library board, and we did the jazz event, which I hope to do again in the future. But this past election, there was pretty much a turnover of the whole library board, and we got some dynamic individuals who are just full of energy and doing a lot of things. And I was hoping we could shake hands with you all, but maybe in the future. But I want to introduce two people to you. One is our president, the president of the Holly Township Library Board, before that, I want to let you all know we definitely appreciate you all being a part of our library community. But April Brandon is the president of this dynamic board. I just got back on. They pulled me out of retirement and put me back on the board. And then we've got a wonderful, and you all probably already know him, we got a great library director who we hope will stay and retire 20 years from now. And that's Greg Hayes. He was just speaking. So without further ado, if I could, I'd like to let our president, April Brandon, give a few words, followed by Greg Hayes. And any questions you all may have, we're here to answer whatever questions. But once again, we are so glad you all are a part of our library family, as I should say.
Thank you, AC, and we appreciate the use of your library too and being part of it. Thank you. April, do you want to pick it up?
Thank you, Mr. DePalma. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. And I don't know what we would do without AC giving us the guidance, as most of us on the board are pretty new at, or brand new at ever having our toes even in politics at all. So thank you, AC, for all that you offer. And I'm afraid I can't stay long this evening. I just wanted to stop and to say hello, but I do have a sick little boy in his room that needs his mommy. So I think that Greg and AC can take over from here, and I hope you all have a great night.
Thank you. Greg, do you want to pick it up? You're on mute, Greg.
There we go. Thank you, Mr. DePalma. And I think I've met many of you. This is my third or fourth year as director of the Holly Township Library. And we are so grateful to have your residents as patrons of our library. And I'm hoping that relationship continues for a long, long time. With the new board, we are doing some exciting new things. Obviously, COVID played a large role in the last year and a half. Most of our staff now is vaccinated. And today was the first day we were able to open our doors again for everybody to actually come back in the library. So I'm hoping to see all your faces back in, and anything that we can do for the township, any communications, any programs, we were more than happy to work with you. And with that, I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate the services from the library. It's always been good working with you folks, and thank you for taking the time to be in our meeting today. And I understand if April, if you got to get to your son, that's first choice. And thank you very much for being here. And I appreciate the call, AC. When you're back up this way, we'll talk to you.
Hey, I'm there all the time. I'm just working down here, but yeah, definitely. And we definitely want to get something. We're going to work and maybe talk to you all and maybe get a couple of programs out there so that everybody won't have to travel as much. But like I said, I definitely want to get this jazz program going again. So I'm going to talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you. And have a great evening. Thanks for coming today.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is public hearings, and we don't have anything on the agenda for public hearings. We don't have anything on the agenda under unfinished business. So we're going to move right to new business. And the first item under new business is to discuss the audit contract, which is up for renewal. Ken, I see you on the agenda. Do you want to discuss this?
Sure. Well, first I want to thank everybody for giving us the opportunity to be here again tonight. We're looking at proposing our 3-year contract like we typically do every 3 years. Hopefully everybody has a copy of the contract that we sent. And if you look at bullet number 7, which spells out the fees, we're looking at contracting for $15,500. It's a not to exceed fee for 3 years. That'd be for each year. It's roughly overall a 2.3% increase over the last 3-year contract that we had. So we try to keep it at that same rate each year so the township can budget for, keep it in its budget, and be happy to answer any questions or comments or anything you'd like to talk about.
Well, we've always been very happy with your services, Ken, and I think your prices are right in line, and we've appreciated the help as different changes have taken place here. You've been most beneficial over the years. We've had a long relationship, and I don't have any questions on this. Does anyone else on the board have any questions?
No
No.
questions, but I'd like to say thank you very much for the education you have given to me through my transition here.
Well, thank you.
Okay, if not, then I guess, Patty, would you like us to do a motion to approve the contract?
Yes, I would.
You want to make that motion?
Yes, I'll motion that we approve the contract with Pfeffer, Hannaford, and Polka Certified Public Accountants for the audits for the upcoming fiscal years 2021, 2022, 2023 at the estimated audit fee of a 2.3% increase to be $15,500 for each year and $115 per hour.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board? Janelle, would you take a roll call on it?
Christopher,
Yes.
Luzarelli,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Back,
Yes,
Bill.
Yes.
Ken, do you want me to sign this or Patty?
It doesn't matter, Bob.
All right, I'll do it right now so I don't forget.
then I'll do something to it and have to take it back in and say, could you sign this again?
Well, thank you very much, everybody. We really appreciate it. We really
you.
like working with Groveland.
We love working with you. You've been great. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is to discuss the bgya allocation. Patty, do you want to take care of that?
Yes, go ahead. Do you want to, or do you want me to? Okay, so this is Brandon Groveland Youth Assistance, and we give them $2,500 each year to support their program with the youth in our area. So I motion to pay to Brandon Groveland Youth Assistance an allocation of $2,500 for the budget year of 2021, 2022.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board? If not, Janelle, would you take a roll call on that?
Luzarelli,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Back,
Yes,
Yes.
Christopher,
Yes.
Okay, we got all of it, right? Okay, all right, thank you. Next item is the Holly Library Services, which we just had a presentation on. Patty, do you want to cover that fee?
yep. The fee for the Holly Library Services will be $6,500, and it's from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. So I motion that we support the Holly Library in the amount of $6,500. And that's
Patty,
it.
I have a question for you.
Yes,
What was it last year?
65, it's been 6,500.
I was gonna say, yes,
Okay,
every year.
sorry if I interrupted.
Nope, you're fine.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Second to that?
I have a quick question. Does this mean that anybody in all of Groveland Township can use the Holly Library?
Yes, and no cost.
Okay.
Okay. Any other
I'll
questions?
second it.
Oh, I'm sorry. We got off track. Thank you, Gina.
Sorry.
Gina seconded it. Are there any other questions or comments?
Thank you, Gina.
If not, Janelle, would you take a roll call on it?
DePalma,
Yes.
Back,
Yes,
Bill,
Yes.
Christopher,
Yes.
Luzarelli,
Yes.
So I know we had this in our budget and everything, and I know it was all part of something that we'd already budgeted for, but I think this is a great use of money, because if the entire township can use this, then, I mean, I just paid $100 to be able to use the Brandon Library for a year. That was just me. So this is a great deal.
This is the bargain of a lifetime.
yes,
They haven't raised that fee on us, and as long as I've been here.
yes.
And just by comparison, when we were paying the Brandon Library separately, the last proposal from them was something like 90 or 100 grand. So this is a phenomenal deal from Holly, and they have a nice little library, very very good staff there. It's good people to work with.
And
Yep.
Teresa, just so that you know, you can still go to the Holly Library and get a card, and if you get the MI sticker on it, you can use the Brainerd Public Library. Just so
Yeah. I'm in the process of transitioning over. I don't plan to pay that $100 again next year, but I had a lot of things in my audiobook queue waiting. So I didn't want to lose my place in line.
Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda then is to discuss the 2021 poverty hardship exemption application. And for all of you, you know, we adopt that every year for property tax exemptions so that some of our residents don't have to worry about moving out of their house. We don't want them to have to. And we were waiting, really, we approved them subject to the final guidelines we got. And Patty, do you want to cover that? Because that's really what came in now is the guidelines for it.
Yes, the final guidelines did come in. If anybody would like to see them, you can get a copy here by just coming in, calling, or asking us to email you one. We have no problem doing that.
It's on the website too.
And the web, we did post it on the website?
Yes, we did.
Okay, and the new document application also. Did that go out there too, Teresa?
Yes, it's on,
Okay.
and it
Good.
should be one of the little tabs that is on the very first page of our website.
Okay, so basically we did already adopt the HUD income limits. What we need to do is to adopt the new
Forms,
application.
the forms. Okay, so is that
for poverty hardship exemptions.
your motion, Patty?
Yes,
Okay, is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? And if not, Janelle, would you take a roll call on it?
Jack,
yes,
Bill,
Yes.
Christopher,
Yes,
Yes.
DePalma.
Yes. Okay, the last item under new business is to discuss the website, and I guess I'm a little bit confused here. Jim, I think there's something you wanted to talk about, because last time I think we had the presentation from the web company that Vinny had done some research on us for, and I thought we agreed we were going to use that, and the price was attractive and the features were extra, but I think there was an email from you, Jim, where you wanted to discuss something on this?
yeah, I'm sorry, I just came in the door when our meeting started. I want to bring up my notes if I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, to everybody in the meeting, I did something called a mind map. So maybe in plain vernacular, a brain dump of all the things that I think our website should have. I'm optimistic it isn't going to hurt our price. It was more intended to reflect to the folks that are building the website, as well as everybody in the township, the minimum, I'm going to say, requirements that I think bring the township up to date. So it was based upon my experience with our township over the last 20 years, other websites of other municipalities. And unfortunately, I'm struggling to talk and do this at the same time. But that was the intent of the mind map. And if someone will take the floor, I will diligently try to find that.
Hang on, Jim. Is this the form?
Is that what you're talking about?
It could be. Let me try to find it and I can bring it up on the screen.
I did get that from you.
Let me suggest this, because I thought we kind of agreed on the company and we liked what they
Right.
said and the pricing was good. Is
what
this
we want.
something that you can get to Vinny? Because I think Vinny's still out of town, isn't he, Teresa?
Yeah, he'll be back on Monday night.
Okay. Is this something, Jim, you can get to Vinny and see if he can incorporate into the design they're doing?
Yeah, I think I already have. And it's more for dialogue among the community. My opinion, I have a little bit of experience with this, closer than arm's length. Shouldn't affect the cost at all. If it does, I'm willing to bet not more than a few $100. It just adds the type of content in the resources that I feel we need to see. That's all, everybody.
Well, Teresa had mentioned to me today that a resident had asked about something on the website, and she had suggested maybe a couple residents get involved in looking at the prototype when we're done.
Really
to see
cool.
if it meets what they want. So maybe this could get incorporated into that. That seem reasonable, Teresa?
Absolutely. And I also might suggest that maybe Jim has a conversation directly with Nick, I think his name is Testa, whoever the contact person is at STG that's doing our website. And while they're still in the putting together phase, talk to him about specifics, because I think there's plenty of time to do the tweaking and so on. But definitely, I think we need to get some resident input and get your ideas out there as well. Because this is it. We're only, we're changing this now. We want to get all the ideas out in the open.
So I'll leave that to you two to kind of work that with Vinny when he gets back then and talk to the web designer.
Is that okay with you, Jim?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
I will leave
Teresa?
this. I
I'm
will
sorry,
leave this
Gina.
here. Yeah, sorry. I'll leave this here for you to see, Teresa. It is the mind map that Jim was, we were bouncing things off, and a lot of it, some of the things on here are some of the concerns the residents had in the past. One of the things that I really liked is it lists all of us individually as members of the board, but also what our responsibilities and roles are, so people can choose appropriately. But I will leave this copy here so that you all can see it. And then Jim, if you can't find it, I know Diane can, because she's the one that printed it.
I have it here.
Okay.
I'll do what I can to print it as a PDF.
Okay.
And somehow we'll try to make it available stat to the community should anyone want to see it.
Okay, thanks. Well, that wasn't so difficult now that I understood what you wanted.
And to everybody, it's a work in progress. It's intended for collaboration with everybody in the community, not just our board,
Absolutely.
nor the fire chief.
Okay. All right, then we'll move on to item 11, which is resolutions. And the first one we have is discuss the mobile food permit and fees. If you recall, the Planning Commission worked on this. Was at the request of a business that's currently physically located out of Myron Street behind the dollar store there. And my understanding is we have at least two people that I think are interested in this. I think it's the gentleman that was doing the Brazilian food out of there. And so the Planning Commission put together an ordinance, and that's all been in the works. This is the permit and the fee structure for it. And I believe Barry Bass is thinking of doing something for the ORV park too. So I had asked Danielle to send our ordinance to them. But tonight, what's on the agenda, Patty, is what to approve the permit fees themselves and the form, correct?
The permit and the permit fees.
Yep.
So are you going to make a motion, Bob?
I'm sorry. No, you can. I shouldn't have said all that.
That's all right. So I'll motion to approve resolution 2021-014 to establish a mobile food permit and fees. Fees to be $150 for the first location, $50 for each additional, and that the permit be filled out prior to any food service mobile being done in the township.
Okay. This was a good job by the Planning Commission. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Jim. Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, Janelle, can you take a roll call?
Bill,
Yes.
Christopher,
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Nazarelli,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Back,
Yes.
Okay, very good. Next item is, I'll handle the next one here. It's to discuss the Oakland County Sewer Project. This is the project that I've been working on for 2 years, and you probably saw some articles in the Citizen that came out as a result of the presentation being done by the Water Department in Oakland County to the board in Brandon, because, as you know, what they've kind of done is wrap what they would like to do for some future potential in with the project that Holly and Groveland have been working on to do the Dixie Byway down to Grange Hall and then over to I-75. They want to build enough capacity in the main line from Genesee to be able to eventually accommodate the village of Ortonville if it wants it, and then down M15, I think primarily to the two lakes and the schools and that, if they want to be in on it. And so this resolution that you have before you is designed, and Holly signed the same kind of resolution. Brandon signed the same kind of resolution. I got a copy of an email when I got in this morning from Laura Moreau in Springfield that said they'd like to be in on the project. And we need to approve this resolution. It's not actually committing us to anything. It's just an effort to show township and board approval to trying to get this project through. As you know, one of the issues that changed it recently was, if you recall the history on previous discussions, the sewer project started out at 6 to 8 million, and in 4 meetings went to 110 million. So George Cullis from Holly and I told them we had to stop having meetings. We can't take 20 or 30 million a meeting. And they came back and revised it down to around 72 million. And it still made the cost per REU what looked like a very prohibitive number to me and to George. So they came back and said, well, we think with all this infrastructure money that's coming down the pipe, we might be able to attach part of the money that's coming to Oakland County for infrastructure for this project, and we're asking for 25 million. That's really what this resolution is, to support the concept of the project and ask them to consider the 25 million. That isn't agreed to yet. And just so you know, I would tell you that if we don't get the 25 million, I think the chances of the project going forward are pretty much nil. We need that money to get the REU cost down to what I consider a reasonable number. The remaining step that will be left after this is, I have asked the engineers at the county on this project to give me a cash flow analysis for the entire of the expected bond, so that when we're done, I and you and the board and anybody in the township that wants to ask can be presented a cash flow that shows how we would be able to do this without potentially bankrupting the township. I have not received that yet, but this is the next step of what we have to do to try and get the county to go for this. I talked to Commissioner Nash of the Water Department. He's going to a meeting this week, to try and push it through again. I've talked to our county commissioner, Bob Hoffman. He's making some calls to the executive deputy of the county to see if he can get some support there. So we're working this. Our job tonight is to approve this resolution so that we can get it in the hopper with Holly's resolution that they did at their last meeting, Brandon did at their last meeting, and ours tonight, along with the letter of support from Springfield. So I think that explains it pretty much. I would like to recommend that we approve resolution 2021-015 as submitted in an effort to show support to the project for the sewer project and to request the county to assign $25 million from their infrastructure funding from the government to be used for this project. So with that, is there a second to the motion?
I'll second the motion, but I do have a question.
Sure.
Is this what we have to do? You talked about submitting some kind of request to Alyssa Slotkin's office. Is this what we have to do in order to do that?
Well, we're working that too. Actually, this money is already allocated to the county, and Alyssa Slotkin had told George Cullis at the beginning, I think it might be easier for us to attach the money that's already coming down rather than trying to get the other money, because there's a bunch of infrastructure money come down.
Sure.
But that one's later in the year, and we're kind of up against a wall here because some of the money that's available for this project, like the fastener company up in Holly, is going to go away if we can't make this delivery to him. So to answer your question, this is not Alyssa's office, excuse me, had suggested we go to this pool first, and it's actually to the county we're asking.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, if not, could we have a roll call vote on that, Janelle?
Christopher,
Yes.
Petrelli,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Back,
Yes.
Mills.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, everybody. I will continue to keep you informed of what goes on there. Now we've got to do the miscellaneous reports. So first, Patty, is there anything for Holly Youth Assistance?
Yes, Holly Youth Assistant had their meeting May 6th, and they've had one new referral to the HIA caseworker for April, and it brings the total number of cases being serviced to 96 for this year. HIA's Youth Recognition Committee has received 10 nominations for outstanding young persons, and announcement of these young people and their recognition will be forthcoming. HIA made weekly Facebook postings concerning April being Childhood Abuse Prevention Month, and also distributed blue pinwheels to the schools for use in their awareness campaign. So for any of you that have seen the blue windmills around in Ortonville and Holly, that was symbolizing childhood abuse prevention. Volunteers, HIA volunteers donated $300 to the Holly Little League, and also purchased a banner with the HIA logo that is displayed at the KRC ball fields. HIA hopes to take part in the Memorial Day parade, pass out candy and flyers. HIA is hoping to be able to man their popcorn table at the weekly car shows beginning in June, continuing through the first week of October. And they've also asked permission to do street solicitation as a fundraiser June 5th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that was it for HIA.
We had quite a bit of activity there. The popcorn for you mean the car shows that are in the village of Holly?
Yes, in the village. Yep.
Okay, thanks. Do you want to cover the Brandon youth as well?
Yep. Fran reported Hotchkiss that there are 86 students who will be recognized this year for youth recognition. That's going to be done by yard signs for their yards, certificates from some of the local communities and some of our higher up officials. Also, pinwheels, I already covered that with HIA. Brandon Groveland Youth Assistant did the same. And their Wojo's fundraiser scheduled for June 5th and 6th. You do have to bring up bgya when you pay, so they know to give Brandon Groveland Youth Assistants the percentage. And there is a meeting tomorrow. Teresa's gonna go ahead and sit in on those meetings coming up going forward. And that's all I have on this one.
Thank you, Patty.
No.
Next would be the Planning Commission. Jim, did you want to cover anything?
Bob, we have nothing to report.
Okay, I know you got a site plan coming in though for the first PUD we're doing.
Yeah, all I know is it's coming in. We don't have a date yet that I'm aware of.
Okay.
And because we haven't gone through, go ahead, sorry, Bob.
I saw something floating around on it. I know it's close.
Yeah.
Okay, BZA, Gina, is there anything on BZA?
No meetings.
No meetings, okay. On supervisors, I got a couple of things I need to cover with you. Most of you know that as the park, if you think back when we started looking at the ORV park, I think all of us went out there a number of times to some of the events. For about a year, we tested every single permutation we could think of. We had one event that was 450 or 500 Jeeps on it at the same time, no problems. We had another bent wheel motorcycle club out there with about 200 plus motorcycles, no problems. But when they opened the park last year, frankly, one of the things the park people didn't do very well on, there's two things. They did not anticipate the amount of dust when it's dry out there. And so they had a couple of weekends and a couple this year already that had excessive amounts of dust. And they didn't prepare the staff originally for doing noise tests. And so without setting the proper ground rules at the beginning, we had people showing up with unmuffled or incorrectly muffled units, and it's created some problem for some of the residents. I took these problems to the park and was assured they were addressing them. And much to my dismay, while they were working on them, there were times when they did it, and then they kind of dropped the ball. And so I had a complaint this last weekend because frequently, not this weekend, the weekend before, when I will drive through that subdivision on Thread Valley listening to see if I can hear anything. And I had a gentleman that was really upset about it. And I listened to him and talked to him for a while. And I went back to the county and I said, this is ridiculous. I tell you what's going on. You tell me you're fixing it. And then I go out and check on it and you fixed it part of the day, not the rest of the day. I want them to have somebody at the park that's responsible for taking care of the facility that they can call directly to. And so they gave me the cell phone number of John Noyes' boss's boss, Sue Wells. And I gave her the name of the gentleman I talked to. They've tried talking to him several times. Some of the people from the parks came over with her and met with some of the residents there. And they do have a meeting. It turns out one of the residents in the subdivision is a retired sound engineer. And they have a meeting coming up Thursday that I'm going to try and run over to, that he's got some suggestions that he thinks would fix it. I can tell you, I've also had several people call or write or stop me when I'm going through and say, I think the park is fine. I get more noise out of some of the people in the subdivision. So I just want you to know that if you hear anything on it, I have been religiously relaying those to the parks. And in some cases, they didn't follow through as well as they should. But I think they fully understand now that it's their number that is given out by our office if there are complaints, so that they have to deal with them. And I think they're making an effort for it. There's a couple of things they're doing for the dust. I think that will be managed fairly quickly here. And there's a couple of things they've stepped up the testing and on the vehicles as they come in. And I've told them a couple of the problems that I saw. Part of the time they would have somebody testing them, but they wouldn't be there all day. And so when I would ask, well, who's doing the testing? They go, I don't know. They're not here right now. I said, doesn't do any good if you're not doing it all the time, as they come in. So I think we made some progress. I know for some people it's an irritant and they are trying to fix it and they are working on it. And I think now that the calls can go directly to the people managing the park, they will have a better firsthand understanding. And it's clear to me that they're taking a more proactive step than they were when I was telling them. So I just wanted to let you know about that in case you hear anything. There's a couple of things that came in real late today. One of them is an email that I got wanting to know if we were going to continue to support the right-of-way spraying for the Phragmites. It's $1,050. This is only for the Phragmites they do on the, the road right-of-way. So I don't know if you want to do that tonight or if you want to think about it and do it on next month's meeting, but I just got this and I wanted to make sure everybody had a chance. If you like, I can have this added to next month's agenda if you want. It's up to the board. Anybody got any comments on what they want to do on that?
I don't want to decide tonight.
Okay, then how about we'll put it on June's agenda, okay?
Okay.
Patty, I'll leave this email with you tomorrow, okay?
Yeah.
And another one I got is, this was on my desk when I got in this morning. JD and Sons gave us a price for, filling the cracks and seal coating and that. And I think after some discussion in the office, we'd say we would get some other price alternatives. So again, I'm not asking you to do this tonight, I'm just letting you know, and we can put this on next month's agenda and get a couple of other prices if that's agreeable to everybody on the board.
I would like to have whoever's putting the bids in available, because last year we did that. And then when we had questions on what is the difference between this product and that product, nobody could address it.
Okay.
So whoever's putting in a bid, if they could make themselves available via the Zoom meeting, that would be fabulous.
Okay.
What is it we're gonna ask them to do? That's another thing. So when I can run it in the paper,
That's
do
right.
we want them to seal coat the entire parking lot, fill
And-
cracks, restripe?
What's on there?
Well, this one says clean all asphalt surface, fill cracks a 1/4 inch or bigger with Durafil and seal coat the parking lot, hand brush it.
Because last year we just had them fill the cracks, if I remember correctly, and do a small repair. It was 700 last year.
I think this would be okay for this year. I know the parking lot's starting to bust up, but that's a capital expenditure we would have to think about next year because that's not going to be cheap.
But even,
Patty, that was correct. You did just have them fill the cracks last year. No seal coating.
Thank you, Kevin. That's what I thought.
Do we want to get the same bids on this same scenario?
I've got a question, Bob.
if they needs to happen.
Jim? What were you
Yeah,
saying?
it seems like we do this every year. That, as far as I know, is not common practice. Is it?
No, every other year, Jim, you had it seal coated 2 years ago and the cracks filled, and last year you just had the cracks filled.
If we
Okay.
don't have cracks, the water ends up busting the
Right.
asphalt
Yep.
out.
Okay, got it. I'm good.
Okay, all right, we'll get a couple more bids and we'll ask them what they want and we'll see if they're all the same thing or not for next month also. Okay, and the last thing I have, Patty, did we address this request from Bob MacArthur for the $2,500? We did
Yes,
that?
yes.
All right, I'm sorry, I missed it.
Yep.
Okay, that's all I have. Did you have anything you wanted to report, Patty?
Did I what? No, I don't have anything right at the moment for the clerk's office.
Okay, how about Teresa, anything you want to report?
I just have three things. Right now, we're encouraging all the residents to get their dog licenses before June 1st or before June 2nd. So last year they waived all late fees because of the COVID. This year they are not waiving any late fees. So if you get your dog license by June 1st, it's regular price, which is, you know, you can go on their website and look, but most people who get their dog licenses regularly, they know what those are, about around $10 per dog if they're spayed or neutered, and $18 if they're not. But after June 2nd, on June 2nd, they go up like 3 times that amount. So, and they said that this year they are going to start sending people around on June 2nd, starting June 2nd, to start checking, you know, areas to see if people's dogs have licenses. So we're encouraging people to make sure they get their dog license. Number 2 is that the 2021 tax roll is being, the details are getting worked out of it right now as far as making sure that all the mortgage codes and this and that are right. So if there are residents who have any questions about property transfers or about principal residence exemptions, now's the time to get those things taken care of. And today I received an email, number 3, I received an email today about settlement, and I was waiting for that because just because it was accepted doesn't mean that it was approved. And today I got the email that says it was approved and everything is good to go. So 2020 settlement is done.
Okay, big sigh of relief, right?
Yes, indeed. I wasn't worried, but you know, it is always nice to get that email and say it's good to go.
Okay, is that it?
That's it for me.
Okay, if there are no other items at this point, I move to item 13, which is open the meeting for any public comment. Is there anybody that would like to make public comment at this point? Okay, is your mic on? Janelle, can you see if her mic is? Oh.
Eve, if you push the space bar, it'll temporarily unmute you. Unless you're on your phone.
Oh, you're on your phone. I could read her lips say she's
Yeah.
on her phone.
If you tap your
There,
There we
There
go.
you go.
there was an icon. I'm not sure.
For the meeting? Yep, we can hear you. If you can identify yourself.
Yes, my name is Eve Burton Zubel, and I'm, hi. I know some of you from stopping in the office rather frequently. I have a concern about the traffic and the speed of the traffic going down Grange Hall basically from Dixie up to Ortonville. There's been, I mean, I can hear people drag racing in front of my house. They come around that corner at Tripp and Grange, and literally they gun it up to about 70 miles an hour. And they're zooming by, screeching their cars, and they're doing it all day long and deep into the night as well. And the trucks are coming by way too fast. Those double bottom gravel trucks they're exceeding the speed limit as well. They're braking with their engine braking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and there's a lot of, these trucks are going way too fast. I almost got hit one coming. I was going toward Ortonville on Grange Hall, and one of them was racing down a hill, basically out of control. I mean, if anything had come in his way, he would have flipped that truck. And I just think we need some traffic control or some reduction of speeds. And I want to find out what I can do to start moving either for a proposal or a study or something in that direction.
Okay, I can give you some information on that. First of all, let me suggest this. If you see trucks, or for that matter, cars that are typically going faster, if you can identify like the trucking company, I can probably find out where they're coming out of and get a hold of them. I've done that in the past. But if I don't know the name of the trucking company, because out of the gravel pits out here, none of them actually own their own trucking fleets. It's a bunch of independents that come and go for particular jobs. And so if you know the name of the trucking company, I can usually figure out what pit it probably went to and get a hold.
Isn't that more of a state police thing than an individual standing by the side of the road taking down names?
I'm just saying, because there's no way that the state police can sit there all the time and do it. What helps usually when there's a speeding problem is if somebody can say, you know, it typically happens between, I'm picking numbers here, 10 and 11 in the morning, and it's 2 blue trucks that say Aldridge or something on them. That helps them figure out when they can be most effective being there, because they're not going to be able to, you know, park there. As far as the speed limit, there's a bill that's been going through the legislature, and it made it through the House, but it isn't through the Senate yet. I can't honestly tell you if it will pass or what, but that might allow some leeway, but it's tied to those traffic studies in the 85th percentile for the most part. So it'd be premature for me to tell you how much of a change, if any, we could do until they decide if they're going to pass it or not. But I did start something myself with the traffic safety people in Oakland County about a month ago. I asked them if we could start posting speed limit signs on our primary paved roads, because that's typically where the problem is the worst. And one of the things I wanted to do, you've probably seen the radar signs, like the ones.
You're breaking up. You
Okay.
just broke up.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you, yeah.
I'll talk to the mic. If you've gone in the village of Ortonville, you've probably seen those little radar signs that kind of remind people when they're speeding too much. It flashes the speed at them. You can't put those up unless you have a speed limit sign already posted on a road. So I asked the traffic safety people in Oakland County if it would be possible for us to post our paved roads. Because if we can, I'm going to ask the board if we can buy some of those radar signs, because I think they're pretty good deterrents from most people that I've talked to. And the road commission said in about 4 or 5 weeks, they should have the procedures written up that they're going to recommend to the road commission that they allow townships to post their primary roads, which is what our paved roads are. And so hopefully later this summer, we'll be able to post them with speed limit signs. And then if they do that, we can try buying some of those radar signs, because I think those are pretty effective. In the meantime, I'm just being honest. If I call the state police, and I did call them today and said, if you can buzz through a couple of them, that would be helpful. But it's always been far more effective when you can say, it's usually this time of the day, and it's usually, you know, 2 kids in a blue and a red pickup truck. They're coming home from school at 3 that always do it, or it's 2 trucks from this trucking company that do it, because then they can try and make it at that time frame to be more effective. If I tell them, can you watch it all day, they are not, and they don't have the resources to park a trooper there and just leave them there. But they will if you can give them some information. And I did talk to the post commander who's out of Oak Park for our detachment here, and he said have one of the lieutenants get to me. But I'm just telling you, if you can get that information, usually that's pretty effective. Barring that, we're probably going to have to wait and see what we get from the road commission on my request for the speed limits and the radar signs. But I'm pretty confident, talking to the engineer who I've known for years there, that we'll end up getting this year.
What about changing the speed limit on Grange Hall? You know how it goes down as you get into Fenton from 40, 30 as you get into some areas. What about reducing the speed out at that corner at Tripp and Grange, where there's people don't slow down enough to make that turn, and you can see them making really wide turns, and some of them actually landed in my property, just missing the turn altogether.
All those things where you see it slowing down like in Fenton are based on those traffic rules state uses, because they tie it to the number of driveways. So when you go through Fenton and it gets a lot more congested, that gives them the criteria to lower the speed limit down. We'll have to wait and see what comes out of the bill from Lansing, if the Senate approves it. But from what I saw so far, it would be very hard, I think, to get anything other than 55 or maybe 50. And I can't even tell you that until I see what they do, because they've been working on this for some time and it's gone back and forth. The House passed the bill. The MTA didn't like the way it was written. It took some control away. They made some modifications. It went back through the House, and now it's supposed to be going to the Senate. But I also talked to the traffic safety people at Oakland County, and they don't have an idea when that's going to happen. So a lot of these bills get scheduled in Lansing, and it's beyond us to be able to move them.
Do you know what the bill number is?
I don't have it with me here, but I had it on my desk. It seems to me it's something like 414, I think.
Okay, I'll reach out to you.
It's in.
I'll start monitoring
it's in the House
this.
right now,
Okay,
but it
yeah.
hasn't gone through the Senate yet.
All right, I'll do seismic tests as well to show what the trucks are doing. All right, thank you. I will take on that job.
Okay. All righty. Any other comments? I'm sorry, Jim, was that you?
Yeah, I'm 150% behind those radar signs. I'm with Eve. I'm amazed at the speeds on Grange Hall Road. I've come to just to accept it, but when I have some experience, Eve, in racing, and I can tell you when I'm going the speed limit and someone goes by me at a 15-mile-an-hour clip, they're flying down that road and there's nowhere to go. So whatever we can do, whatever we can try to do to rein it in, I'm all for it.
Okay, because we're crossing the road to get our mail, and it's become a dodge. It's you take life in your hands every day.
Yeah, I assume you're right at the corner of Tripp and Grange Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we have a very good chance of getting the speed limits posted, and I think we have a very good chance of getting the radar signs. I'm just being honest with y'all. I'm not optimistic from what I've heard about what they'll do on speed limits, but we'll be notified when they actually get it, if they do, through the House. This has been tried before. We did it about 6 years ago when everybody complained, and what got it this far again is really what did it before. All of the supervisors in the townships in North Oakland County signed resolutions and sent them to Lansing. It's a painfully slow and laborious process. I don't know how else to say it. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, if not, we'll adjourn, make a motion to adjourn tonight for this meeting and move to the fireboard. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll take a roll call on it just so it's on the record. Janelle?
Maserati?
Yes.
Jim Palma?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Christopher?
Yes.
Okay, Chief, we're reconvened for the fireboard meeting. We're all here and the meeting is yours.
All right, thank you all for coming. For the month of April, we ended up with 70 calls for the month, pretty much the same as we had last year and significantly higher than we had 2 years ago. Total calls for up to April 30th was 332 calls for the year 2021, which was significantly higher than last year. And we're already at 41 calls for this month. So 10 days in, we're at 41 calls. So things have been a lot busier so far. We've had, if you look at the call breakdown, structure fires, you can see we've had quite a bit more this year than we had last year. So we had 4 in April, which was quite a bit.
No. Structure fires, you had 4 last year.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading it wrong. Yeah. But with grass fires and everything else, we've been pretty busy. Fires we did have that were structure fires, we're able to minimize the loss to the homeowners. Fortunately, I'm not on wood here. So we've been having some good luck with those. Traffic accidents and just medicals. We've been having a lot more medicals this year than last. Like I said, 332 calls so far since as of April 30th. In addition, we have another cadet I'd like to hire, Gary Wall. Another cadet, I think he's going on 15 right now. He's very close to that. And that will give us 3 cadets. Like I said last month, if we have 1 cadet, you might as well have 5 or so, but this will help make the trainings more interesting. So I'd like a motion to carry Cadet Gary Wall, please.
Okay, make a motion that we hire Cadet Gary Wall to the Groveland Fire Department. Is there a second to that?
I'm happy to second it.
Gina beat you, Jim.
It's the delay.
Any questions or comments from the board? If not, Janelle, would you take a roll call on it?
DePalma,
Yes.
Bath,
Yes.
Mills,
Yes.
Christopher,
Yes,
Mazzarelli,
Yes.
Okay, Chief.
Okay, couple other things before my note 5. We have the state ambulance inspection on next Monday. It's going to be virtual again, like last year. Basically, they go through all our paperwork and they may or may not inspect an ambulance. In the years past, they checked all our ambulances and look for expired anythings on there. But we're going to handle that Monday. Jeff Burdess is heading up that inspection. We had tanker 1's water pump, the engine water pump went out. Captain Williams took that out and replaced it. We spent about $200 to repair that. I'm assuming that had been a $700 repair at a shop. And then we changed the bearings on Alpha 2 of the front bearings on one side so far. We're going to do the other side this week because they were starting to make a lot of noise. Ladder truck is still at Mad Diesel. We call again today. We thought we were going to get it back today, but when we were heading down there to do a test drive, they discovered another small leak. So told them rather have it fixed than keeping to bring it down there. I mean, this will probably be the 4th time in 2 months that we brought it back to them to fix some little minor repairs. And there's minor, but the reason we brought it back down there mainly was because the water pump that they put in was defective. So that's been replaced. That was all no cost.
Okay.
And then you see there, I got like authorization to spend up to $2,500 on a lawnmower. Currently, we have a riding lawnmower at Station 1, working part-time. We had a push mower donated today for Station 1. And my zero turn is at Station 2, and we use it there and at my house. What we're going to do for now is use the trailer that we have at Station 2, bring mine back and forth into my house so we can cut the lawns. And we'd like to get, if we find a good deal on the zero turn, we'd like to buy one. I'm asking just permission to spend up to $2,500 on a used zero turn lawnmower if we can find one. We've been lucky, we haven't found anything yet, but if we find one, it's going to be, we have to bid on it right away type deal. If it's either RepoCast or Craigslist or whatever. So I just like permission to a motion to authorize up to $2,500 on a lawnmower. And if you remember, that's what we usually leave in the budget every year for lawn cutting services. And we haven't used that for, I think, 2 or 3 years now. So.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to authorize that we spend up to $2,500 on a lawnmower for the fire stations.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board?
Thank you, Captain Williams, for all the auto work.
The amazing part, he'll change that pump and he won't even get dirty with his white shirt. I can't even eat lunch without getting dirty, but he'll clean the drains out at Station 2 and he'll come out, he'll still be perfectly white and clean, but
That buddy of mine that does cars, he wears a little white lab coat. It never gets dirty. I don't know how they do it.
we tease him about it all the time, but somehow he's able to stay clean all the time. But
Okay, so it was made by Gina, second by Jim.
Yep.
Yes.
And any other questions or comments from the board? And Janelle, did you have a question? I'm sorry. Janelle, would you take a roll call?
Bath,
You're on mute, Patty.
I'm on mute. Yes.
Mills,
Yes.
Christopher,
If that was me, yes.
Mazzarelli,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes. Okay, anything else, Chief?
I think Eve's cat had a question. He was in the camera there for a minute.
He's just letting you know he's watching, that's all.
He got bored and left, I think. So
Is that it, Chief?
that's all I have.
Okay, any questions or comments from anyone in the audience?
I have a question for my favorite fire chief. Kevin,
Yeah.
have we had any calls to the ORV park?
Yes, every weekend we've had a serious call to the weekend since they opened up.
Did you say a serious call?
Yeah, broken arms, broken legs. We had one yesterday. The Jeep rolled over down about a 50 or 60-foot hill, and without going into too much detail, possible broken arm, possible neck or back injury. We're only 60 feet away, but it would have been very hard to get her up the hill. So
It's a long 60 feet, right?
yeah, but we got the ambulance close. But actually, when we were standing right there, we still couldn't see the Jeep. There's almost a vertical drop there, and getting her out of the pit was very difficult. And I'm going to meet with DJ, so hopefully sometime this week, to see what other alternatives we have. I mean, the ambulance made it back there. It's just where down in that pit, we can't get down in that pit. And so we commandeered a Jeep truck, put the patient and two medics in the back with it, slowly brought her up to where we could get it. One of our options was to carry her out, but we decided against that. And we called in a level trauma genesis, and they had everybody wait.
Are they paying extra insurance to cover all of this township expense?
Actually, it was no other expense to us than just a normal medical one. They're probably going to pay a lot for getting that record out there to get that Jeep out of there. But I mean, for us, it's just another call. It's not any addition. We didn't use any additional equipment, I guess.
But I think to Eve's question, they pay for those medical runs. They being the person that got hurt.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
If we take them by ambulance.
Yeah.
If we have a sign off, let's say we go check somebody out and they don't want to go, typical for anyone in the township, there's no fee for that unless we treat them and then release them. There's a fee for treating. But if we just check them out and then they say they don't want to go to the hospital, then there's no fee. That's standard throughout. And that's something Bob and I have discussed before, that good 45% of our calls are from tourists in the area. And so that's why we have a cost recovery and things like that. So I say there's no additional cost. There's a cost for the engine. There's obviously the fee for the ambulance. And then if other people show up, there's a fee for that. We do a cost recovery that if it's a bigger, like a car accident, this is no different.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from anybody?
Did I answer your question, Jim?
It did, and just to prolong this, I'm not familiar with the culture, Kevin. Do they have arm restraint and head restraints on these things? Or is it just run what you brung?
This was basically a standard Jeep, and they had that she was restrained, but I think it was just a regular lap belt. And when they rolled upside down, she was kind of released from it, it appears, from the seatbelt. So she claimed she went out the sunroof and partially got ran over, but it didn't appear her injuries were that bad.
If you go there and you watch the next time, you'll see that some people just are taking a regular Jeep or Blazer that they have and going down there. And the hardcore guys usually put roll cages in them and 5-point harnesses. But I don't think there's any mandatory requirement to do that, because what commonly happens when most of those Jeeps roll over is if you don't grab, pardon my language, I think they call it the oh shit handle on the car. You know, you have a tendency when they're rolling over that your arm flies out the side. And then if the Jeep rolls over on it, you end up breaking your arm on it. So that's what happens on a lot of them.
Last weekend, Jim, I saw a 4-wheel drive Suburban running around. I was like, I'm going to go get mine, but I didn't. It's already wrecked. I might as well bring it out there. So
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks, Bob.
Okay. Anything else? Anyone else have a question? Okay, well, if there's no questions, thanks, everybody. Just to let everybody know, based on the improving statistics in the state of Michigan and Oakland County, there is a short 3-minute video running on Facebook and YouTube and the township channel right now that says we anticipate that if it continues to improve and there's no big spike back up, that next month we'll probably reopen the township office here for the board meetings and allow some general public in. But under the state laws that are in effect right now, until we get to 70% of the population is inoculated, we can only allow enough people in the office, in the meeting room here, to maintain 6 foot spatial distancing, which means in our office, it works out here to about 10 or 12 people. If more people than that show up, we're required to immediately cancel the meeting and then reschedule it for another day and another time. So I would ask that if you're comfortable with the Zoom meetings, you continue to do that. We will be running Zoom as we're allowed to all the way through to the end of the year. So you don't have to come in. And again, we're only limited to about 10 or 12 people, or we'll have to cancel the meeting immediately. It's not us. We don't have any choice on it. When we get to 70%, they're going to eliminate the social spacing and the masks, and we'll be able to have whatever normally fits in the meeting here. After the first of the year, Zoom under the state law is not allowed for interactive meetings, but we will continue to put the meetings on Facebook and YouTube like we have since at least July. So you'll still be able to see them even if you can't come. I just wanted to let everybody know that. So if you're not sure, you can watch Channel 10 on the cable channel, or you can go to the township office and watch it on the YouTube video on our website, or you can go to YouTube and Facebook. We've been pumping it out there so everybody knows what the rules are. And we anticipate that those will be in place for June unless there's some catastrophic spike up in traffic. And we'll try and do it that way until we get to 70%, and then things kind of go back to normal. And then at the end of the year, the Zoom function being interactive drops off. Okay, that's it, everybody. Thank you. And everybody have a great evening, and we'll see you at the next meeting.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay. Good night.
Night.
We need a motion to adjourn.
Oh, yeah. We need a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we did it. Thank you.